Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be talking to you all about object permanence. So what is object permanence? Well, object permanence is the concept that objects or people continue to exist even when they're not visible. Now, most people have an understanding that when they lose the remote between the couch cushions, the remote has not disappeared for good. I do this all the time. Now, this is a fairly simple concept that most people learn from a very young age. However, object permanence is not something that is innately understood, meaning that we're not born with the understanding that objects continue to exist even when they can't be observed. Now, at one point, not very much was understood about object permanence. You see, there was a point in time when people thought that babies didn't think much or understand very much, even at all. It wasn't until a Swiss psychologist named Jean Piaget began his work extensively studying child development. Now, Piaget, having 3 children of his own, knew that babies and children were much smarter and much more intelligent than people had previously thought. Aside from his contribution to the understanding of object permanence, Jean Piaget is most noted for his theory of cognitive development, in which he breaks down the 6 stages of sensory motor intelligence from ages 0 months to 24 months. Now that we have a little bit of a brief background on Jean Piaget, we can begin to ask ourselves, how does object permanence work? Well, in short, an infant is shown an attractive object, which is then momentarily hidden out of sight. In this picture, we can see a baby sitting at a table with what looks like a stuffed dog or a stuffed rabbit in front of him. Now, the baby was most likely allowed to see and or play with that object beforehand, but then a board was placed in front of the object. So now what we're left with is a picture of a baby that looks kind of sad, and it looks like he's longingly looking at the photographer and maybe the videographer, wondering where his cute little stuffed toy went. Now, in the slide right before this one here, I'll go back. It's depicted a mother playing peekaboo with her newborn or infant child. And this is another great example of object permanence, because peekaboo would not be a fun game to play with a child around the ages of 2 or 3. This is because children around that age have a full understanding of object permanence, whereas a young infant, a baby around this age, is truly shocked at their mother's disappearance and reemergence when they cover their face and uncover their face. Now, this is just a picture of a baby looking shocked, so I thought I'd add it in there. Now, after Piaget and his colleagues ran their tests on infants of various ages, somewhere between 0 months and 2 years, they were able to make these concise observations. They were able to observe that infants younger than 8 months do not search for attractive objects momentarily covered by a cloth. At about 8 months, infants remove the cloth immediately after an object is covered, but not if they have to wait a few seconds. At 18 months, they search after a wait, but not if they have seen the object in one place and then move to another. And by 2 years, children fully understand object permanence. Now, these are some of the necessary executive functions that a child would need to understand object permanence, and that's response inhibition, working memory, and sustained attention. And these all come at different phases and stages in a child's life. And the last little slide I have here is of my cousin Eleanor. And I did this demonstration when I was observing her for my child observation project. I thought I'd throw it in here, though, because it has to do with object permanence. And it's her demonstrating her understanding of object permanence. So right there I had a little coaster that I was letting her play with, and I covered it with just a regular tissue paper. And Eleanor immediately took the tissue paper off to look at the coaster. Now, she's 17 months old, so it is assumed that she already has that understanding of object permanence. But it was cool to test to see just how quickly she reacted to it. Anyway, that's it for my